Welcome back to another great week of RPG gaming. This week we got news that the action RPG Wild Hearts has gained some post-launch content. It's been roughly a month since the launch of EA and Omega Force's Wild Hearts, which unleashed the monster fighting title for various platforms. An update brings the mighty Hellfire Lahabak, which is a new breed of volatile Kemono. If you've missed it, these are beasts that are available to hunt down in the action RPG. This means more challenges and, of course, more rewards. Located in Natsudachi Isle, players can tackle these new beasts once they have completed the game's main story quests. The update also brings new skills to the table. The Talisman skill gets the Infernal Blow after players take down Hellfire Lahabak. It increases the chances of setting prey alight and will cause a fire boost against any ablaze Kemono. The update also brings a number of improvements and fixes to the game. This update isn't the only post-launch content to hit the game, as a recent tweet also shared another challenging Kemono, the Grimstalker, is coming on March 23rd. More beasts have been teased to be arriving this April to step up the challenge. If you're interested in getting off on the right foot in Wild Hearts, check out our Wild Hearts Beginner Guide for 7 useful tips and tricks to hit the ground running. For more on this news and all the news mentioned in this video this week, head to the link in the description below. The MMORPG Wayfinder got a dev interview this week which went over the finer points of topics such as characters, itemization, endgame, and more. Developers Airship Syndicate shared with the gaming publication MMORPG about just how many players will be joining in an instance. So far, through testing, the team has had up to 40 players at the main hub at a time. For larger activities, the studio is deciding on the maximum number of players, which will depend on factors such as enemy respawn times. Unlike classic MMOs where you have more than 30 people to engage in non-standing events, Wayfinder's action genre enables you to tackle dozens of enemies fairly quickly. Moreover, the team is looking into improving their implementation of an overworld. This will be similar to the likes of games such as Destiny 2, where planets are populated with an abundance of enemies and events. In terms of monetization, they talked about there will be no loot boxes or gacha-styled elements. Instead, there's going to be an awakening system which will allow you to craft the same character over and over again to boost their performance, plus a cosmetic shop. Wayfinder has recently ended one of its closed betas. You can check out the closed beta impressions on our channel. Now for a hybrid mix of genres. The Last Spell unveiled a launch trailer recently. This title is a unique blend of turn-based tactics, RPG-styled gameplay, and some tower defense. The pixel art style title has spent 2 years in early access, launching its version 1.0 earlier this March. The setup is quite simple. Mages, in an attempt to rid the world of wars, have made a war that will rid them of the world instead. The Last Spell creates a quite unique mishmash of many different genres. At its heart, it is an RPG. Players will command a party of hardy characters with different strengths and weaknesses. They will all have different classes, skills, traits, and attributes as expected of any good RPG. What's interesting about one of the game's systems is that it has roguelike elements built into it. Most things are randomized to a degree, meaning you won't command the same hero twice in a row, keeping things quite fresh. Its procedurally generated content, such as access to weapons, items, and other unlockables, will be constantly changing. The Last Spell is currently available on Steam for a limited time launch discount of $22.49 USD. A new DLC has dropped for the MMORPG The Elder Scrolls Online called Scribes of Fate. This released alongside the game's free update 37, which brings balance changes and other minor fixes. Scribes of Fate adds 2 new dungeons into the mix. We're getting into some Lovecraftian-inspired territory here with the Daedric Prince of Knowledge, who is up to no good. The 2 dungeons relate to the greater story being told this year, heading up the expansion Necrom coming in June. Balsana will have you investigating secrets of the grave and the influence of temporal magic, the magic of time. In the other dungeon, Scrivener's Hall, players will be facing the passive cult called Scribes of Mora. Both dungeons promise new loot with new dungeon sets to pick up. The DLC is available to purchase separately or free through ESO Plus, ESO's monthly subscription. As for Update 37, which is available for all new features such as screen narration, housing improvements, and more have been added. Head to our Elder Scrolls Online wiki if you want all the details. Scribes of Fate is now available on PC and will be releasing on consoles on March 28th. Last month we saw major titles finally unleashed. The PlayStation blog has outlined which games were coveted in terms of top downloads for February 2023. The list includes PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 as well as free-to-play games. Making the number 1 spot for PlayStation 5 last month was the magical open world title Hogwarts Legacy. This probably comes as no surprise as the title has smashed milestones with its broomstick riding, spellcasting, as well as fantastical beasts. It didn't make the top PS4 list, however, as the game will be releasing later for last-gen consoles. Recently, this has been pushed to May of this year. Other RPGs making the list for PS5 last month includes the alternate Soviet set title Atomic Heart taking the 9th spot, with its Bioshock-esque gameplay and out-of-control AI robots. The beast hunting Karakuri contraption building title Wild Hearts gained number 10 in the US/Canada list. The PlayStation 4 list, however, told a slightly different story, as now some major titles releasing this year are foregoing last gen. Making the top spot is The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Remastered also made the US list at number 9, which goes hand in hand with its sequel. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is still on the PS4 top 20, sitting at number 17 in the US. For PS4 and PS5 free-to-play games, Genshin Impact still is riding the top 10 for EU. The sequel to the Souls-like shooter Remnant from the Ashes is getting some new archetypes in its latest game. In Remnant 2, a new archetype called the Handler comes with its own pet companion, a dog who will join you in battles. This archetype was revealed by developer Gunfire Games. Accompanying the Handler is a dog who will join players in fights so they won't be alone even when playing solo. Lead designer Ben Curtin shared in an article with IGN that the idea behind the new archetype is so that if you're planning to play the game in single player, you'll still have a fighting chance, and it's just as practical when you're teaming up in a group as well. This canine friend has 3 modes to utilize. Guard will make it howl to draw aggro from enemies, support to heal players and allies in the group. Finally, the attack mode, the dog will go into an offensive with a damage focus. In order to keep track of the dog's mode, the bandana that it wears around its neck will change colour depending on the mode. You can also order the dog's location using a ping system. The pup can even bring you back from the verge of death if you have a Dragon Heart potion on you. Remnant 2 also was revealed to be releasing in summer 2023, which narrows down the release window. It'll be launching on platforms PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Diablo 4 has kicked off its first beta weekend. As we take our first steps into Sanctuary, you may be wondering if the latest action RPG would be coming to the likes of the subscription service Xbox Game Pass as a day one release. Well, that looks like it won't be happening, according to General Manager Rod Ferguson. In a tweet, Ferguson explained, "We've been getting some questions about Diablo 4 on Game Pass, and I want to let you know we have no plans for that." Currently, the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft is still in the process. This would make many wonder if the Xbox owner would be putting Diablo 4 on Game Pass as day one. But this confirmed that isn't the plan for the Demon Slaying title. As it stands, the game is set to release on June 6 for platforms PC, Xbox Series, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 4. Whether or not Diablo 4 may eventually make its way to Xbox Game Pass is too soon to tell, but it could be a way to beef up the already brimming full subscription service. Be prepared for incoming Lilith and her minions by dropping by our Diablo 4 wiki. You can check out our Diablo 4 beta class guide to help you decide which class to pick for the beta. You can also drop by our Twitch channel as we play during the beta weekends. Atlas Fallen received its first ever gameplay reveal. The trailer was about a minute in length but showed us some explosive combat and more. The trailer also goes over some of the story segments, which shares inhabitants facing the threat of an unnamed villain, the world is in ruin, and humanity is affected by corrupted gods. Where things get interesting is when we get a hold of a magical gauntlet. With this weapon, we are able to harness magical abilities and amazing attacks. Atlas Fallen's fast-paced action will have players facing sand beasts. Both enemies and the actual game world are done on a massive scale. Foes tower over us, looking quite ominous and dangerous. Their attacks are also larger than life as they can take up the entire screen. Combat will also be fluid once the player unlocks the gauntlet's abilities to transform into different forms. The gauntlet will be able to convert itself into 3 specific forms: the Dune Cleaver, the Sand Whip, and the Knuckle Dust. Players can use Essence to air dash, propelling themselves into various locations, which is great for exploring. This should enhance your mobility tenfold, especially since you can easily choose what you will crash into. Atlas Fallen will be released on May 16th, 2023. The title will be available for PC and current-gen consoles, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. The base game is set at $49.99 USD. If you're curious to find out more about Atlas Fallen, you should check out our gameplay preview hands-on impressions video, which will give you all the details about the upcoming action role-playing game. Well, that's it for the Week in the Wikis. Please join us again next week for yet another great week of gaming. Remember to check out our VIP program for some exclusive supporter benefits. and budding writers should take advantage of our Become an Author initiative. Thanks again for being part of this great community. Keep checking in with us with news, reviews, YouTube streams and bits, and general wiki goodness.